There is no sympathy for this lying grifter. She has shown her true colours. She is an utter disgrace. She is an embarrassment to the monarchy, and she should not be featured on mainstream media again. She shouldn't have been featured on mainstream media, Dan, from years and years ago.
Well, of course, but remember, this is the same broadcaster that covered up for Philip Schofield. Breaking today, Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, is said to be in total meltdown and having a breakdown after being axed by Woke ITV, who have decided not to use her on their shows this morning and Loose Women going forward after her emails to Jeffrey Epstein were revealed. Now, this comes as there is a serious leftist plot in the mainstream media going on to use this deepening royal scandal to push the agenda of republicanism. There is the cover of this week's New Statesman. And even the front page of the Daily Mirror today makes it clear the pressure that King Charles, suffering from terminal cancer, is having to try and weigh up. Indeed, Republic, the organisation that heckled him earlier in the week, have today claimed that they will launch a private prosecution of his brother. The Royal News Network posted on this, yikes. And I think Charles is truly facing the make it or break it moment of the monarchy. The decisions Charles makes now will likely determine if the monarchy lasts another 50 years. So there's a huge amount going on here. We're going to get into it all with our superstar panel, the political commentator Kane Blackwell and royal commentator Lauren Lunn-Farrow of Lauren the Insider, who, of course, is an expert on these royal news stories. And my God, there's a lot of them at the moment. But let's kick off with what's going on with Fergie and Woke ITV, because it's very difficult for me to have huge sympathy, and that's what the mainstream media is attempting to push here, right? So there's been headlines this week about the fact that Fergie was wailing when she found out she was going to use the Duchess of York title. The Daily Mail saying, quoting a friend, saying she has nowhere to go or anyone else to go with. But at the end of the day, when you're someone who has been in the public eye and made it abundantly clear, Lauren, that you cut contact with Jeffrey Epstein, when indeed you did no such thing. You took your two princess daughters to meet this paedophile. You begged him for $50,000 and $100,000. Then I'm sorry, your credibility is forever smashed. And remember, Lauren, I was working at the News of the World, not only when the News of the World broke the Epstein scandal by running the pictures of Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew together in Central Park in New York. Not only that, but also you will remember the fact that Fergie offered to sell access to Prince Andrew to the now disgraced fake sheikh. So that's a story that is often forgotten because of the fact that the bloke behind the fake sheikh ended up going to jail for a terrible, awful plot to ensnare Talisa, which I never supported at all, by the way. But look, my point being, Lauren Lunn-Farrow, why ITV was even hiring Fergie, given everything they knew, is quite astonishing in the first place. And should we really feel any sympathy for the fact that she's lost this big gig? A very quick but personal message from me to you to let you know that the best way you can support Dan Wootton Outspoken is to subscribe to my Substack at www.outspoken.live. Substack is a free speech platform that protects me from big tech cancellation and lawfare. Paid annual or monthly subscribers get an extra hour of content with the Royal Uncancelled After Show available every weekday with no advertising whatsoever. You can also message me direct on there. That's www.outspoken.live.
No sympathy, and the mainstream media are as guilty as Fergie in this whole equation, because this is the system. And it's important we talk about this because this is a system that has, I believe, exploited patriots. It has taken your money, it has taken your time, it has taken your energy, because they have built Fergie up, and then Fergie every single time has shown her true colours and has fallen down, and it's the same mainstream media that have built her up again, and it's a vicious cycle. And how many times are the mainstream media going to give Fergie a pass to do this? And we see now the narrative of, oh, Andrew's mental health, oh, Fergie, poor Fergie. Fergie has been given more money than the entirety of my town's savings probably put together. Everyone in my town could put all their money in the pot, and Fergie still had more than them. There is no sympathy for this lying grifter. She has shown her true colours. She is an utter disgrace. She is an embarrassment to the monarchy, and she should not be featured on mainstream media again. She shouldn't have been featured on mainstream media, Dan, from years and years ago.
Well, of course, but remember, this is the same broadcaster that covered up for Philip Schofield. So I mean, exactly. It was a den of inequity, wasn't it? Look, this is the reporting on Fergie's vaccine. The Daily Mail saying specifically that it is because of the spiraling Epstein revelations. They report that once she was hailed as a saviour of ITV's daytime schedule, but has now been dumped by the broadcaster after she was pulled into the Jeffrey Epstein scandal that has swirled around her ex-husband Prince Andrew for more than a decade. Fergie has seen backers fall away. Now, after being dropped by a slew of charities and fearing her career as a children's author is over, ITV bosses have confirmed that the former Duchess of York will no longer appear on their shows. Sources within the broadcaster say that when she was brought in, appearing on This Morning and Loose Women, Fergie was adored by the upper echelons of the company due to what they describe as a relatable nature. They also thought Ms. Ferguson was very likeable to viewers, but her world has come crashing down following more revelations about Andrew's dealings with convicted paedophile Epstein, and after the Mail on Sunday uncovered an email, the former Duchess wrote to the disgraced financier, apologising profusely for disassociating from him publicly following his conviction in 2008 for procuring a girl under 18 for sex. One ITV insider told the Daily Mail Fergie won't be appearing on ITV again. There is nothing in the pipeline for her. There was once such high hopes for her. She appeared on This Morning as a guest presenter and contributor as well as a Loose Women. Fergie did a lot with ITV for a time and was always part of the gang. She was very much part of the plans at ITV, but no more. There will be no more Fergie on ITV. There are no plans, or any current plans, or any more anytime in the future. She's done with the channel now. And I mean, always a chancer, maybe another major grifter, Narinder Kaur, Waden Kane saying, does that mean there is space for me on the panel now? Well, God, let's hope not, Kane. But seriously, I do have to say, ITV, Kane, aren't they so pathetic? I mean, they knew what they were dealing with when it came to Fergie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they do this, like you said, Dan, they do this so often. We saw it with the Philip Schofield scandal. They just covered it up, and they sort of look past these people because they think they're stars and they're in their little social bubbles at their, London dinner parties and swanky soirees. And that's the problem, is they forget that actually in the real world, people look at these people and think, why the hell are you giving them a platform? It is, honestly, it's delusional. It's this, it sort of goes back to this Westminster bubble idea. It's sort of this TV bubble that people are in, and they don't actually understand that outside in the real world, people don't like these people, and they don't care about giving them these massive platforms. People want to see real stuff, real people talking about real issues, not, Fergie coming on and talking about her new book, or, all these other bits and pieces. People want real stories, and they want real people talking about it, and they don't want these sort of, has been washed up, ex-royals who haven't actually contributed anything.
Meanwhile, the potential crisis for Prince Andrew growing today. Republic, which is the organisation that heckled King Charles earlier in the week, announcing on X, breaking news, Republic has instructed lawyers to consider a private prosecution against Prince Andrew. If the government and royals won't take action, we will. Tom Sykes of the Royalist Substack reported it this way, saying that this is over corruption and misconduct, and it's a disastrous time, of course, as support for the monarchy in a poll, which I do think we have to be clear, was commissioned by Republic, so probably a bit of a biased poll, but it still shows support for the monarchy slumping to below 50%. And Tom Sykes reported Prince Andrew is facing the possibility of a private prosecution relating to allegations of sexual assault, corruption, and misconduct in public office. Your reaction to this developing story, Lauren?
It's going to amount to nothing. You know, Andrew is elite. He is not governed by the same rules as all of us. So Andrew will get away with it yet again. The silly performative statement from the Met that we are looking into it, they're not. They didn't even believe that there were grooming gangs. So, you know, I would take what they say and dispose of it immediately. Andrew will never go behind bars. He will never be investigated to the degree that any of us would for potential crimes, because he is Andrew and he is elite and he is bound by different rules. And the police, I don't think, will ever do their job properly when it comes to Andrew. This is why he needs to get off of royal grounds and he needs to be officially stripped of his title, because William and Catherine, they deserve a clean slate when the time comes. They are such a great hope for this country, and it is despicable what Andrew and Sarah have done to the monarchy. They have brought so much
and the pressure is now building, because we've seen what the New Statesman is doing, but I actually think their attack on William is pretty revolting. Look at this post from Ollie Dugmore, who's this hard leftist now at the New Statesman, asking with a straight face, is Prince William illiterate? And it came from this conversation with Will Lloyd, the deputy editor of the New Statesman, who is behind this Abolish the Monarchy cover this week. Kane, have a look at this, and I'll get you to react off the back. But first, I want to talk to you about something I use every single day, and it's so important to me. Surfshark. In today's digital world, your online freedom and safety have never been more at risk, whether it's state overreach, big tech tracking, or cybercriminals snooping on public Wi-Fi. Here in the UK, we've already seen websites and even news reporting, including some of our own work here on Outspoken, being censored under the so-called Online Safety Act. That's why I use Surfshark VPN to keep my browsing private, secure, and free from censorship. I also love that I can still access content and streaming services from anywhere. It's brilliant when I'm traveling and want to catch up on shows that aren't available here. But Surfshark is so much more than a VPN. It's an all-in-one digital security tool. Their clean web feature blocks ads, trackers, malware, and phishing links, making browsing smoother and faster. If your VPN connection ever drops, the kill switch instantly cuts your internet so your data stays safe. And if you need certain apps like your online banking to bypass the VPN, Surfshark's bypasser feature can easily take care of that. Plus, with over 3,200 servers in 100 countries, you can switch locations to watch your favorite shows or access better online deals. I've even found cheaper flights this way. And you can use Surfshark on unlimited devices. So for me, my whole household stays protected with just one subscription. So if you want to secure your data, protect your freedom, and support Outspoken at the same time, which is pretty cool, right? Go to surfshark.com/outspoken or use the code Outspoken at checkout to get an extra 4 months of Surfshark VPN. That's surfshark.com/outspoken, code Outspoken at checkout for an additional 4 months. But now, back to the show.
What are we told about Prince William? We're told he likes Aston Villa, he cares about mental health, he's got the mental health. But then I think the royal stenographers have accidentally let the daylight in. We're told that William is unable to name a favourite author, but he is a box set guy who does love Batman-related superhero movies. Quote, William is not a great reader. He prefers an oral briefing. Now, I'm reading between the lines a little bit here, but are we going to have a monarch who basically either can't or doesn't want to read?
Bro, are you telling me that if you were the monarch, you'd be reading books?
I wouldn't
be reading books.
It's very
Pull
important.
the other one.
It's incredibly important.
Good for him.
No.
He knows the Aston Villa B team. Like, he's tinkering with his FPL team. He likes watching box sets.
can't-
What would you... So, Kane, here comes a revolting narrative from the left of this country trying to abolish the monarchy, which is this claim that Prince William is stupid, that is illiterate, can't read. I mean, it's total nonsense, an absolute lie. But this is gathering steam now because the New Statesman is considered mainstream on the left.
Well, I think it's disgusting for a start. The idea that he's illiterate, he went to one of the best schools in this country. I mean, what? And because he likes box sets and he prefers an oral briefing, that makes him stupid. Don't be so ridiculous. I prefer watching box sets to reading books, but doesn't mean I'm illiterate. I'm probably more illiterate than Prince William. I'll admit that. But look, the point is that the cover of that magazine of the New Statesman, it was in graffiti, wasn't it? It was all in graffiti because they want to have anarchy in this country, the leftists. They do not want government. They want communism. They really want this, and they want to destroy our country brick by brick. And that the biggest brick is the monarchy. And they
100%.
want
I
to
mean, look
destroy
at the
that.
leftists who have been supporting it this week, Zara Sultana, for example. But look, this is a very in-depth article. I have read it all because I wanted to be fair to the New Statesman, but I just want to share a couple of the key passages with you, Lauren, and then I'll get your reaction. So Will Lloyd writes, "The Crown is not a politically neutral ceremonial crèche designed to produce toothy celebrity symbols for the gaiety of the nation. It is a political actor. It has its own interests. It has protected the reputation of Andrew at all costs for the best part of 15 years, despite this being an insane and disgusting course of action. Successive governments and MPs of all parties have helped the Crown to do so. Lords and judges are appointed in Charles's name. Police officers swear an oath to him. Charles cannot be sued. He has access to more official documents than any minister. He sits on a reserve of gold, diamonds, and jewels that would make Smog weak. Parliamentary convention dictates that Crown consent is sought whenever a proposed piece of legislation will affect Charles's prerogatives or interests, including hereditary revenues and personal property. What I am describing is pure power. I could go on listing and documenting that power for several pages. There is no British equivalent to Japan's imperial household law, which defines the emperor's ceremonial and symbolic role. Instead, we have the crown. We have power that exceeds symbolism. And looking at the Windsor's activities with Prince Andrew, the abuse of that power, we have the splendor of the throne and the corruption of the state. It may be, he goes on, that this power is beginning to fade. It will soon be questioned in Parliament, a highly unusual moment pregnant with possibility. The world is rapidly dissolving, and so are the Windsors. The family itself is thinning out, with fewer and fewer of them to go round. The king is an aged, ill man who will be succeeded by a middle-aged man who in turn will be followed by George, by then long past his youth. The future of the House of Windsor will be a conveyor belt of cloistered and confused men attempting to force consensus on an ungovernable country. William should stop the rot and acknowledge the truth when his father dies. The mystique is gone. Charles III should be the last king of England. He is the last Windsor who really believes in any of the hocus pocus of this house. William doubts that God exists. How can he go through with the coronation in Westminster Abbey without acknowledging that God has put him there, on the throne? Lauren, your response?
There's just this awful narrative that's trying to paint William as something that we haven't even given him a chance. And I really believe that he will be a fantastic king. I think he's going to make drastic changes. But the left are so dangerous peddling these narratives because we would be in huge trouble without a monarchy. It is so important to the fabric and the DNA of our country. And I think we will see William take a much more active role, but a much more selective role. We know he will slim it down, and he is not he's been vocal on a lot of the kind of performative side he's not interested in. He wants to get to work. But I find this piece of, trying to write William off before he's even started, it's just so disrespectful. It's so rude. And it's such a clear tactic for them to push their toxic narrative forwards. So if you see a copy of this on a news shelf, just throw it in the bin.
Yes, I think William is the threat, isn't he, Kane? And so it's like, let's do William down now, because William is a very smart guy. He has big plans. I mean, interestingly, I don't agree with all of his plans, Kane, because, for example, I want to see our monarch living in Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle, for example. I don't want the monarchy to be slimmed down too much. I'm more of a traditionalist like that. But actually, William is the one who is utterly determined to usher in a new era of the monarchy.
I agree, and I agree with what Lauren said. It's they are really trying to really discredit William, and I think it's terrible. But what I think the crown and the monarchy need to do, and what William as well, is they need to stop pandering to the left, which I feel like they have for so many years. The people who really support them, like you and I, Dan, and like Lauren, are the traditionalists who do believe in the monarchy, who do believe in, British values and all of that. They have pandered to the left and their agenda for far too long. What we really want them to do is actually look at us again and say, we are here for the British people, not for everyone else. We're here, I'm a defender of the faith, of the Church of England, that this is where we need to get back to the traditional roots of the monarchy, instead of sort of it branching out to be sort of this, global leader of, climate change or whatever else it might be. We need them to get back to what they're good at doing and what we love them for. We love the pomp and circumstance. We don't want them to get rid of Buckingham Palace. We love the parades. We love all of that. But we also want them to be the king of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. That's
yes, indeed. Very well put, Kane Blackwell, the political commentator who you can follow on X at Kane_Blackwell. And of course, Lauren Lunn Farrow, the PR expert, royal commentator, who you can subscribe to on YouTube at Lauren the Insider. Thank you both so much. Oh, and by the way, very important programming note. Lauren is going to be live with me on Tuesday morning from 9:30 a.m. We will be bringing you live coverage that you simply will not get in the MSM of Tommy Robinson's terror trial, The Verdict. So, Lauren, I will see you Tuesday morning. You're going to be outside court for us, and goodness me, that's going to be a big day. So we will see you then. Thank you both so much. We'll reveal today's greatest Britain and Union jackass in just a moment. First, to your feedback, though. John C. says, making a joke, this is in regards to Shabana Mahmood, making a joke about boats after what happened to that poor man and the other two victims is disgusting. I thought I couldn't dislike this government more, and boom, there we go. Bat Guano says it was diabolical how the BBC refused to actually state anything about the culprit when everyone knew hours beforehand he was an Afghan refugee. GT777 says not desperate migrants, just very choosy and selective about which country they want to live in, so they choose the tiny island of Britain over 5,000 miles away. Glenn HX predicts they will give the Afghan £500 and send him home. Simon, this is in reference to the fact that ITV News covered the story for just 19 seconds, said 19 seconds is the same time it took Starmer to lay a wreath in Southport and leave. I will never forget that day. And KCHP says, this was not even spoken about at PMQs yesterday. Shame on that house and all those in it. Oh my God, I agree. I was watching and I was utterly horrified. Okay, your nominees for Union Jackass. Rachel Reeves, nominated by Darren Donaldson for slithering out of needing a license to rent out her Southwark home. Ed Davey, nominated by Jane Jenrick for being one of the biggest plonkers on the planet. And Prince Andrew by Julianne Lowe for being arrogant and entitled. Okay, Third place, Prince Andrew with 12% of the vote. The runner-up with 18% of the vote, Ed Davies. But today's Union Jackass with 70% of the vote, the lying, cheating, law-breaking Chancellor Rachel from Accounts. And because it is a Thursday, very excited to say that she goes head-to-head with our other Union Jackasses from across the week to find out who will be the worst Briton in the world this week. I'm going to upload the 4 nominees to the post tab on YouTube straight after the show. We've had over 100,000 votes for the past 2 weeks running, so please do get voting. A reminder of who your nominees are: David Lammy Monday, Sadiq Khan Tuesday, Dr. Scholler Wednesday, Rachel Reeves Thursday. This result will be interesting. And I'll bring it to you tomorrow on the show, of course. But today's greatest Briton, Lady Colin Campbell, nominated by Sarah Booth for streaming live from St Thomas's Hospital post-fall her dismal care and the rules that are clung to prevent her scans being sent to her surgeon elsewhere. I'd suggest the board there sort this out pronto before she sues them down to their DNA. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.